Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everybody. These two words I'm about to say potentially are ruling your life right now. And if they're not at this moment, they have in the past. And I'm quite certain that one of these two words is making an impact on you at this very moment in some way, shape, and form. I'm referring to shame and guilt. We all deal with it. We all have it. Much of it goes back to our childhood. We're going to learn more about that today and how to kick shame and guilt out of your life and move your life forward. And she's been helping people do that for many years. She joins us now. Her name is Lois Hollis on the program. Hey, Lois, how you doing?
I'm doing great. And thank you for the opportunity to help people understand this craziness, shame, guilt. I call it shame, guilt, not shame and guilt. So I will need that opportunity.
The door has just swung open. I'm listening. We're learning. Please tell.
And it's in every country, in every field, in every person. So don't feel like, oh, no, it's universal. That doesn't make it right.
I want to talk about your credentials before we even jump into this. And it's very impactful. Your story is quite an amazing one. You have a medical background as well. Do tell.
Well, I started as a nurse's aide in my teenagers. And I'm 81 as of yesterday.
You look,
that's a long
wonderful,
time.
By the way.
And I just had heart surgery 8 months ago.
Wow.
They replaced only three valves.
Wow.
That's all. Anyway, so if I'm so excited to come back again. It's so exciting. Anyway, so yes, my basic life was in medicine. And I think once you're medical, then I've gone into nursing. But I think once a nurse, always a nurse. Once a doctor, always a doctor. Once a teacher, always a teacher. So I was very fortunate to begin or start the first kidney hemodialysis unit in the United States.
Wow.
Now, that sets the stage because what my MO is, if something needs to be done and nobody's doing it, I'll do it. And that's how I got into the shame guilt thing. When I realized how disastrous it is, and it took me years to figure it out and help myself first. And then people said, what are you doing? And I told them I'm doing, and they said, can we do that? And I said, I guess so. So that's how I started doing this. And it has changed people's lives, even if they just understand a few sentences I've said. Because we have been given a bowl of crap. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's not the truth, but it controls us. Think about how shame, guilt. Now, I say shame, guilt. Now, but first I want to go back to my original question, my background. So it's mainly medicine, and then I went off into philosophy and psychology because I was dying from the shame guilt. I was from a Catholic family, and if you breathe too hard, you were guilty. So and when I was 11 years old, I had to do my first confession, and I cried because I said, I don't have any sins, so God don't love me, so how can I confess my sins? So I'm typical. And that follows you into your life. And I became very creative. And then the shame guilt always came in. And then I went to film school because I wanted to show people what shame guilt was. And that was very difficult because I was in a class with all these teenagers, and here I was 30, 40 years old. So anyway, I had to do a lot of more shame guilt work. And then someone asked me to do a podcast, and then that just started everything. And then I'm in like 14, 15 countries. So I became a reverend so I can counsel. I'm a writer because I write. I'm a teacher because I teach. And I'm a counselor. I'm also a mother. That's the biggest one.
And a podcaster now, too.
And a podcaster.
Yeah.
So it's been so exciting to share information. I don't charge for my work. I don't charge for the podcast. I only charge for individual sessions, which makes sense. And my website has 4 or 5 films on it, something like 50 podcasts, so you can gain a lot of knowledge what you don't hear today.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because we should share that you've done these documentaries. What a full background. Amazing. Shame guilt is impactful in our lives because they reinforce each other and bring on lots of negative emotions such as anger, depression. People gravitate toward addictions as well. It right down to our spiritual state, right?
Okay. I say shame guilt because think of a coin, a quarter or a nickel. You have heads and tails.
Sure.
But it's still a nickel.
Yep.
And that's where the confusion lies on. This is very important because the church, I don't care, Methodist, Catholic, European, whatever religion you want to talk about. No religion. You don't have to have a religion to have shame and guilt. I never thought of that before, but that's really funny. They give you shame and guilt if you have religion or you don't have religion. So shame works in the unconscious mind, okay? That's why we don't talk too much about shame. Guilt is right up front. It's in the conscious mind. But we have 2 nervous systems. One's unconscious and one's conscious, and they flow together. Now, why is this important? Because if you have guilt, you have shame as well. If you have shame, you have guilt. You can't take a nickel and take the heads and tails off. It just is what it is. Now, the church, whatever church you want to talk about, states that guilt is necessary to recover from our badness, from our inadequacies, from our wrongdoings. We can do penance. We can serve God, but we have to have guilt because we did wrong. I'm saying that is wrong. I do the right thing, hopefully, because it's the right thing to do. Like one of my friends said, well, Lois asked me to help her move yesterday, and I would feel very guilty if I didn't help her because she's my friend, but I really don't want to. I have a bad back. But she's doing it out of guilt. Anytime you do it out of guilt, it don't work, okay? So that's where the guilt comes in. So I'm saying help your neighbor or help your friend because you want to. If you don't want to, sometimes you're sick, you don't want to do this or that. You don't do it out of guilt because it only reinforces the guilt.
How do we, okay, we're at that point where we're feeling guilt because somebody asks you to do something. And I definitely want to talk about how you help people overcome these feelings of shame and guilt. But somebody asks you to do something, you really don't want to do it, you don't have the time. How do we get over the guilt feeling? Is it, yes, I get that the word no.
Okay, the guilt, shame guilt, it's shame guilt. So shame guilt is not, it is an energy that comes upon us. It's a thought form. It's an energy. It activates compassion to depression. It turns all your emotions from their positive state to the negative state. We don't know that. But each emotion has a positive state and a negative state. Now, when shame guilt comes in, oh, I should really do that, but I'm really feeling a lot of the guilt. And go away, guilt or whatever. Your emotions change. Your compassion turns to depression. Your anxiety, your intuition turns to anxiety. See, so it's like a computer virus. What happens when you get a computer virus? Oh, we all know that one. Everything's a mess.
Yep.
Well, think of someone coming to you and say, oh, Lois really helped me out with my move. And you say, well, I don't really want to, but they're doing the guilt. Well, I helped you out when you were sick, and you should help me out now. And now they're laying on the guilt, right? And that comes into you, and it alters your energy. You're from a positive state to a negative state. So you're thinking negatively. I'm no good. Because they told you you're no good, and you're accepting it because you don't know any better. Now, why is shame, guilt so dangerous? It's the most dangerous thing that we have here on planet Earth. I'll tell you why. Did you ever hear of Steve Hawkins?
Of course.
Okay. He's up in heaven now. And he gave each emotion a number. Very, very wise man. He started with enlightenment, and he gave that the number 700,000 to the 300th power. I mean, it's a number that you can't even conceive of, okay? But it is conceivable, but it's a number that's so high. And then he continued to go down the plane with anxiety and depression and, what all of them, not good and whatever. Then guess what the last one is?
Now, Go ahead.
The last one is shame and guilt. And it comes in, guess at what number? 10.
What? 10, okay.
And what's after 10? Suicide.
Wow.
Because you're not good enough to be saved. And the reason I'm saying this is because this is proof that shame, guilt is the lowest form of energy that you as a human can have and still be alive.
Wow. Is the highest form of energy, this is what I understand, the highest vibration, that's what energy is. Is it love?
It's up there, but it's not the highest.
What is the highest?
Transformation, transcendation. But let's just go for now. I've noticed in the society that, don't be angry. You can feel guilt, but don't be angry at somebody. Well, anger comes in at like 150. That's a lot better than 10.
Sure. And I'd love your opinion on this, Lois, because I've had this discussion with friends and others that anger isn't really an emotion to itself. Anger is an emotion.
Expression.
It shows up. It's other things.
Yeah. But it comes in, I don't know, 150 or something.
Wow.
Sure, it's better than enlightenment, but who walks around as a saint? I don't. Because nobody would understand me. So it's okay to be angry. Okay, I'm not saying you should be punching people and so forth and so on. I'm giving you the worst scenario that you can put yourself in is feeling guilty or shameful. That is the worst thing you can do to yourself. And it comes in at a 10. And if you are feeling guilty, if you are feeling shameful and you can't get out of it, you call a friend. You got to get out of the hole. You're in a hole.
I never realized that it was such a, yes, it's big. Guilt is big. Shame is big. I never thought that it had that impact on our society.
That's why it's used to control us. You think they're dummies?
Is one worse than the other? Shame, guilt?
No. They're both horrible. They're both terrible. The church has made guilt be a little nice. No, it's not. It's bad. And people say, so what? This question is asked a lot. But why is it so strong? Correct? When the shame guilt comes, it's like powerful. And it feels like it has power over you. Shame guilt needs you as a human, because you have light energy. I'm doing a little metaphysical here. You have a certain amount of energy and it has light. Shame guilt needs the light energy to survive.
Wow.
So how to get rid of it? You just pipe up the light and say, thank you, Jesus. I love you, God. Or, whatever you want to do. I don't care. You just, they have to go away. Shame guilt has one flaw. It dissolves. It dissolves in detection. So the more you know about this shame guilt entity, it's an entity. Some people call it a alien form. I don't care what you want to call it. I have a great podcast. Someone was able to find it as an alien source. And it is an alien. It doesn't belong to humanity, but it's used on humanity to control us.
So I want to best understand, Lois.
You got to pay your taxes.
You're right. Yeah. And there's all right. That's an interesting one there. If you focus on taxes, there's guilt for not paying. There's the worry about the penalty. There's the shame that I'm doing something wrong because I didn't get to pay my taxes. Interesting. Do you feel that once it's exposed, once shame and guilt is brought to the light, it's discussed like we are today, it minimizes its negative effects?
Yes. That's why I'm so happy to do this podcast. Now, remember Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz?
Sure.
Everybody. She goes up the yellow brick road. Oh, my goodness, I'm going to see the wizard. I'm so, I'm scared. So she finally gets to the wizard. And what does she see? She sees this big curtain, and she doesn't know what's going on. The major best person was Toto. What did Toto the doggy do? He pulled the curtain back. And what did you see? A little old man, bald and gray.
Yeah.
With a big machine puffing smoke.
Yeah.
Shame guilt is a puff of green smoke. Wow. Get over it.
Wow.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Interesting thinking about all of this. Does it really exist? I mean,
it does. But because you give it the energy to exist. So you kick it out. How do you kick it out? You go, get out of here, whatever you want to call it. And then you go on about your work. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's going to all happen in the beginning. I've been doing this for years, and it still creeps in. But I'm going, get out of here. You don't belong here. Now, another example is, did you ever, I'm sure you saw a magician do a trick with an animal or whatever. And then you were so enthralled that you saw it again the next week. And then you were so happy you saw it again. Did it lose its power over you like it wasn't so great anymore? You weren't enthused about it. Because it was like, that's how you treat shame guilt. It's like a nuisance. Get off of me. Shame guilt dissolves in detection.
Wow. Because
it has to go away. Because it doesn't have any food. Your scaredness, your fearfulness is its food. So the more scared you get, the more shame guilt you're going to get.
In other words, we're feeding it. We're feeding it.
You got it. Thank you. Perfect words.
Wow. And we're feeding it based on our past, based on even our childhood.
Mother, our father, our sister, our brother, the Pope, the president, the man that cleans your car. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, it's it seems like it's impossible, but it is possible when you know the truth. Shame guilt is an energy force put upon humanity to make us stupid.
How do we, and we have almost out of time here, got about a minute or so left. Lois, we feel guilt. It comes on, somebody has to do something. Maybe it was a situation in our past and it just pops in our head again. I feel guilty. I should have done it differently. How do we make it go away? What's an easy way?
Get F-U-C-K out. Lois, you did a great job when you were 15 years old. You didn't know any better and you did the best you could. The way to counteract that is I'm good. I'm good. That's why my films are called I'm Good.
Wow. And you know what?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Well,
I'm good.
This is in line with something most therapists would say, in that we all walk around with a feeling that we're not good enough. So if that's floating out there, then the guilt comes on. That's going to just pull you down. You have to reverse that. So you're telling yourself, I am good. Yeah. All right. I've made mistakes, but I'm good.
In my rehabilitation, whatever you want to call it, I used to, I would make bread and heat it up, but I always forgot about it, and I always burnt the bread. My kids would laugh at me, oh, Mom burnt the bread again. But when I did do that, I said, I burnt the bread so good. I did so good burning bread. No matter what I did, even though it was wrong, I was good.
Wow. I see this in a whole different light. You're flipping it around and looking
I'm just flipping it.
Yeah.
Now, I being very dyslexic, obviously I get lost. I get lost more than most people. But guess what? I went to my friend Judy's house yesterday, and I only got lost once. I was so good.
Well,
I didn't dwell on the fact I got lost. I only got lost once. I did really good.
This goes back to something else that a lot of people say: celebrate the wins. Look for the win. Many of us don't. We just put it upon ourselves of shame. I got lost again. I always do this. Oh, well, maybe you got lost only once, like you said. And look for the positive. Lois, you have a great website. You also have some free material on there, a book, 500 questions, have one answer. And
that's
so
right.
Much more. What's the best way to find you?
LoisHollis.com. I have thank you to my wonderful web designer. I have 4 websites on my one website, so you will find a lot of good stuff.
There's a lot of good stuff. I haven't even dug into the documentaries.
I'm good. I have 4 websites.
Yeah, you are.
Really good.
and lots of content, lots of video, lots of material to help somebody. And of course, you're there if somebody wants to do a session. Thank you so much for today and bringing to light what's going on here with shame, guilt. We know it's bad. Didn't realize.
I'm good, though.
The impact. I'm good. You know what? Walk
I'm
around
good.
today and say that. I'm good.
I am good.
I know you have a store on your website. Do you have the I'm Good t-shirts? You need them.
Thank you. I'm going to make some I'm good
not
t-shirts.
even kidding. I would proudly wear it. Just says I'm good. Makes people think, what are you talking about? I'm good. It needs no explanation. Needs no explanation. I'm good.
I came in 3rd place. I'm good.
Yep. You're not good, Lois. You're amazing. You're fantastic, and I appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
But it's simple. You got to keep it simple.
Whisk it away, shame and guilt. And I'm looking forward next time we get a chance to get together.
Adios.
We'll
Happy
be right back.
Thanksgiving.
You too.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education and to finish what I started to get my diploma. Just never judges. She's a true role model. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.